I be watching black women on the internet and I can never relate to them. And I understand why. Okay, it's a work in progress. Like, I don't know all the pieces, but I'm going to tell you the number one thing about me. I am super judgmental. Like, when they say, oh, a person is a narcissist, everything that they say about a narcissist, I check off all those boxes. And I do so shamelessly. It's a matter of, do I feel bad about it or do I feel good about it? So let's take that apart. I feel bad about it because, just a little background. Um, Both my parents were preachers' kids. My mom, my daddy was a preacher, and both his parents were preachers. My mama's mama was the only one who had sense, if you ask me. Like, when I feel like I really can't figure out what I'm doing in life, I call her, and I mean, everything just clicks. What do you know? Everybody thinks she's a narcissist too. But anyway, not to sit on that word for too long. Um, the bad reason, yeah, is because my grandparents, just judging off how my parents were and how my generation is and how my uncles and aunties are, it's like they had this impossible standard on how a person is supposed to be. And I can imagine being a preacher, you're supposed to look like you're this high and mighty person. You have title so and so of the such and such. And that's why I really don't take it seriously, because being behind the veil of all that, seeing how we turned out from, I'm what, 2 generations removed, I really don't see the glory of it all other than faith selling, is how I see it. Yeah, I don't take any of my grandparents' religious views seriously at all. And most people would think, oh, if whatever your grandparents were preaching and teaching, if you go against that, oh, your life must be miserable. Quite the opposite. In my opinion, judging by my parents' upbringing, their siblings' upbringing, the horror stories that I hear in the family, most of which I did not have to suffer, I think I'm making the right moves here. That's the bad reason, right? Reason why, anyway. So, the reason why I say that's a bad reason why I don't care that black women might perceive me to be a narcissist is because a lot of their views of how you're supposed to be up here because most people are down here. I think that's bad because that was something that was kind of given to me, like pushed into, like, the way that I think. Those were not my own independent thoughts. Now, here's the good side of why I'm called a narcissist. Because I 100% own my shortcomings. I can't help how I was raised. I can't help what I was taught. But the funny thing about the teachings that I'm so against is that I find myself, as I'm getting older, starting to tick right back to it. So even though I don't necessarily agree with the way that my grandparents came to their conclusions, I'm starting to find that I believe in the same things, but in a different way. So, like, this whole I'm up here and you down here, that's a trait of narcissism, if you will. And maybe because I have so-called narcissistic thoughts, according to like a lot of black women that I talk to, I really don't understand this idea of seeing that I've done the work, but somehow I gotta see myself as equal, especially equal to somebody who hasn't done anything. Let me just put that out there. Like, people these days, they have like this entitlement automatically because they feel like they deserve something, they should automatically have it, or because they're a good person, they should automatically be seen as a good person. Now, I don't believe in none of that. Me personally, I think that, life happens and you do the best you can with what you got. And just because you did something well and somebody thinks that they deserve something that you've earned doesn't mean that they deserve it. which brings me to another point. That gets more complicated with being black, right? Because we all get lumped into this group, like we're oppressed, we're dealing with bigotry and the white supremacist structure and all that. Um, as far as I'm concerned, the whole world sucks. The black side, the white side, and every other side in between. The world is a sucky place, and you got to figure it out. Is that to say that there's no racism? Absolutely not. Is that to say that there are no issues in the black community? Absolutely not. And I'm not also saying that everything is peachy with the white community either. What I'm thinking about is people are people, and people suck. And going back to the way that I think, I am better than a lot of people. And at that same token, I am worse than a lot of people. And I think that's the weirdest thing. Like when people know that, it's so weird. It's like everyday people can't admit where they are in the grand scheme of things. Like you can't say that, hey, it's like the only way that particularly black women can say that they're doing better is if they have like a degree or if they have a mortgage or something like that. There has to be like a piece of paper to just be able to wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, instead of going out and partying and spending up all my money, I saved my money, live to have money another day. Hey, I did better than that person that's like hungover and they calling out of work. I'm about to go and pick up 8 hours and get that overtime. Fundamentally, does that these two person A and person A saved their money, stayed in, didn't get inebriated, got up for work the next day. Person B went out, turned up, party, can't wake up for work the next day. You prefer person A over person B, no? But again, like if you're doing well, you can never ever be like, hey man, I'm up here. The next thing is knowing where I'm at on the spectrum, because there are some people who are like up here. Now, some people are so high above my head, I know most likely I ain't gonna get there. And it's mainly because I just ain't got it in me. So for example, like being like a millionaire, for example, it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of networking. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of intelligence to be a millionaire. I ain't got it. I already know I ain't got it. So if you trying to deal with a chick with long money, that ain't me. And I'm okay with that. If a chick is out here and she's doing her thing, she's doing great, flowers to her. I don't have an issue with her. But as far as like how I feel about myself, that's based off of what I want in life. Like I've made decent money in my lifetime, but one thing I learned when I was making decent money was that my life was more about my job than the family that I wanted. So I had to decide what kind of life I want, right? So not to get too far on that, the whole, this whole being lumped in, I think this race thing is kind of irritating me a little bit. When I look at black women, I'm like, I'm not one of them. Like, yeah, I'm black, don't get me wrong. I ain't on no weird, I ain't black type thing. But it's just like, I don't understand them. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And again, going back to my grandparents, when you're holy such and such and you got the big church hat and the nice suit and, you're the one driving the nice cars and you're taking, Section 8 money, or drug money or whatever, because that's basically who we were, who they were servicing. Like the people that they were preaching and teaching to. Last time I went to like, my grandparents' church and stuff, it's like the grandparents of them kids, they used to listen to my grandparents, and then the kids listen, to them, and then the grandkids. And it's like, yo, they just running in place. Like, for like generation after generation, like, the church it got bigger. The churches, they're getting bigger, they're more and more successful, but their members are broke and their members are lacking. And so for me, like, the original idea was to have like some kind of succession to where somebody in the generation before me take over the church, and then, hopefully I marry deacon so and so, or whatever the rank and structure is. But I just thought it was stupid because I felt like being two generations away, it's not helping nobody. Like, yeah, we go and it sounds good and it feels good and it's a way to be social on Sundays. But as far as actual results and having a better life, I wasn't seeing it. Still not seeing it. And I know a lot of like black Christians are always like, oh, you're a little, but even those people that try to convince me, oh, you're not trying to see it. Not if it comes to being dusty. I'm not interested. Sorry, that was my narcissism, I guess. But I just feel like, yeah, um, I'm drifting away from this race thing, and I'm getting, well, I've been done with the race thing, but I'm getting closer and closer. I'm trying to find reality. I'm trying to find like humanity, right? Because the whole staying on code and all that, it doesn't work. I know what I'm supposed to say when a black woman go in there, yes, queen rant, but I'm just like, I'm trying to connect. I have a hard time. And like I said before, maybe it's my preachy genetics that is like, you need to come up here in life. But then another side of me is getting like, what if I can help like the black community? Like, what if I can make the black community better than what it is? Even though in my mind, there is no black community. Like, I don't even know if there is any community, honestly. After this pandemic, everybody's like scrambling, scattering like roaches. I mean, everybody is in bad shape. But I don't know. That's just where I am right now. Trying to find black women that think like me.